Welcome back to another episode of Research and Rabbit Holes with your girl Lauren Nicole, your cousin, sister, friend, and your friendly neighborhood librarian. Now today we're going to do something a little different. So the premise of Research and Rabbit Holes is sharing with you the different resources that you have access to. And I wanted to start with the public library, but everything that I touch on will always be from the public library. And today is one of those days. So, have you ever been searching for a book or a news clip or a web page that you know existed? Did you know at some point in time that you have seen this thing, you've encountered it, but when you go back, when you do your Googles, you can't find it? Well, sometimes pages have been archived or removed from the web, but there is a project called the Internet Archive that has worked to preserve much of that information, whether it be old books, video games, software, and other types of media. So, if anybody has ever heard of the Wayback Machine, which was a website that you could plug in a URL to a website that once was and be able to access what was located on that page, the Wayback Machine is actually a project within the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive has several projects underneath it, and the Wayback Machine is simply one of them. And so now today, I'm actually going to navigate the website to show you how to look through the various pages and check out the different projects that it offers. And who knows what you might find as you're doing your digging. Now, there is a lot on this website, so I'm not going to go through everything the way that I have in some of the other videos. I'm actually going to implore you to go on the website, click around, and check out the various aspects of the site, okay? So let's get ready to navigate through this web page. Get ready for a bit of nostalgia. Let's go. All right, so here we are on the Internet Archive. The address to this website is archive.org. And so this is that landing page. And so you can see you have a couple of different options here in this top ribbon: web, text, video, audio, software, images. Then you have some other options, and we're going to go through quite a few of these. As I mentioned, you have the Wayback Machine search bar here, so you can search keywords or URL to see if a website that might not be active anymore, or if a resource that you, again, once knew, you know that it existed. If it has been archived, then you might find it there. I mean, you can also search here within the Internet Archive main page, and then it tells you Internet Archive is a nonprofit library of millions of free text, movies, software, music, websites, and more. You have your archive news that runs along the sides of each of the web pages, and it lets you know um, how many of each resource they have. So they have a trillion web resources, 49 million books, 15 million movies, films, videos, and that kind of thing. You have your basic search and your advanced search. Then you have some tools for how to navigate the archive if you are new here. So how to search the archive, how to download files, if you're listening to music on the archive, how to find old web pages, how to upload to the archive. So you can, if you have a piece of media, a movie or a book that you would like to share, you actually can donate what you have to the Internet Archive to be preserved and archived. They have an option for print disability resources, how to change your account settings, and other common questions. So I would also like to note that to optimize your usage of this platform, you can create a free account. Okay. You don't have to have an account, but you can create an account, and it is free. Now, here are some of the top collections: audiobooks and poetry. It says 76,507 items. LibriVox, which is free audiobooks. APK Archive. Folk Sound Me, a library of sound. The Phone the Phone Software Archive, United States Patent and Trademark Office documents, Live Music Archive, Arts and Music, Electric Sheep, Cody Archive, and Support File Collection. And you can see it goes on and on. Movies, spirituality, and religion, the Manual Library, Television Archive, News, Podcasts, European libraries, California Digital Library. So you can actually access the collections of institutions as well that have contributed their resources to the Internet Archive. So you have access to so many things. Look, CD-ROM software, old time radio, the Library of Congress, Universal Library, Russian audiobooks, video game videos, VHS vault, microfilm, right? So this is definitely something to come and play around with. And if there's something that piques your interest, to, do some clicking around and maybe download some files. And some of the materials that are on this website are absolutely interactive, which I'll show you in a few moments here. Stock footage, long playing records, Central Intelligence Agency collection, animation shorts, and on and on. So there's a lot here. There is a lot here. Now let's go all the way back up to the top of the page. Okay. And we are going to click on web. So when you click on that, it says search the history of more than 1 trillion web pages on the internet. So there is a mobile app version of the Wayback Machine. So if you wanted to download that, you can navigate that there. It says archive its subscription. So again, if you make that account, then you can kind of dig around into those collections and likely save different things and have your collections, your personal collections that you want to build to navigate through. It says capture a web page as it appears now for use as a trusted citation in the future. So if there is a web page that you frequent currently, or one that you find helpful, useful, trustworthy, drop it into this URL and save it so that it can be accessed in the future. Okay. All right, so if we click on text, you have your open library, you have American libraries, then it says featured. So you have featured text. These are from different locations, like the Smithsonian Libraries, FedLink, Lincoln Collection. You have the top category, so American libraries, Canadian libraries, Universal Library, Project Gutenberg, Children's Library, Biodiversity, Heritage Library, Books by Language, and other collections. So let's just click on Open Library as an example. And so the Open Library is a free online library, but there are limitations. So you can check out a book. These books have been digitized and uploaded into this archive here. You can check it out to read it, but it's not like an unlimited copies kind of experience the way that you would have on, say, a Hoopla. Okay, so you can borrow a book. As you can see, this book, Thomas Haywood's Art of Love, it's checked out. So you would just have to wait until, like this one, join the wait list on the book, so that you wait until it's available for you to check out. They are divided by categories. So let's see, we have trending books, classic books, books we love, recently returned, romance, kids, thrillers. You have the Stephen King Needful Things, which is checked out. Let's do an example of how to borrow one. Oh, look, Frida McFadden. If you've been watching any of my videos, you know that I'm a Frida McFadden fan. You also have textbooks, which is awesome. And I actually want to say, I remember someone asking me about one of these books not too long ago in a library. So that's awesome for some of those older books that you might want to draw on for the content that you can't necessarily access anymore. Authors Alliance and MIT Press, and then browse by subject. And then they have some metrics there, some data there, and some more information about the open library. But yeah, let's see what it looks like if you want to actually borrow a material. So when you open that up, you get a little bit of a summary about it. It has its ratings, and it says 213 want to read, 30 currently reading, 29 have read. So, all right, and then when you scroll down, you have your book details. So it will tell you what the Dewey Decimal classification is, as well as the Library of Congress call number. So if you remember episode 1, we talked about that. It's in the form of a paperback, 398 pages. So it just gives you some of the OCLC, which is it's library lingo. It's not really important about this book, just some details about the book. And then you might also some recommended reads that are similar to this one. So if we wanted to borrow it, then we could simply borrow it. This happens when you do this little drop down. So when you do this little drop down, when you choose this little caret here, it gives you the option to listen to it. If we wanted to listen to it, then we would need to have our account set up. But that is awesome that is an option. And then we could preview the book much the way that you would preview a book on like Google. So again, these books have been transcribed. So when you read them as ebooks, it will be a digitized format in terms of the quality of the read. Okay. And then you said so it says exit full screen, search inside, so you can search inside that text, and you can make whatever visual adjustments you want to make, share the book, and experiment. Translate books directly in your browser. That's interesting. So you can add a translation plugin for a language there. So this is the open library, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to the Internet Archive because we have much to look at. So that's just an example of one of the subcategories here for text. Let's go to video. So you have your TV news archive, watch and share TV news. This one is about understanding 9/11, and it's a whole archive on video clips and news stories that happened around that time. You have your featured, all video, your top animation and cartoons, arts and music, spirituality and religion, television. Let's go into movies. Okay, so once you pick a category, watch full-length feature films, classic shorts, world culture documentaries, World War II propaganda, movie trailers, and films created in just 10 hours. These options are all featured in this diverse library. So the cool thing is that there is a forum where people are having discussions about different things within, these archives and within these collections, trying to find copyright info for VHS tape, need for clear labeling, a collection of Doraemon or episodes were taken down. So there are people, and this is recent, who are commenting and who are active inside of these forums. Okay, so let's go back to that collection. You can search a particular title to see if it's something that has been saved here. You could just kind of navigate here. You can change the view, the way that the options are listed. Okay, so I'll keep it this way. You can sort it, date reviewed, all-time views, weekly views, title, date published, date archived, date added, creator. And then you have your filters here on the left-hand side. So you can filter by the year that something was published, the media type, whether it's a movie, an audio, an image, what year, what subject, the different collectors. And I suppose if you were active within the archive, you would familiarize yourself with particular creators and the things that they have contributed to the collection enough to filter down by specific creators and even languages. So as you navigate through each of the options, you have your symbol here that lets you know that this is a movie. it shows you that this has 775 all-time views, 8 favorites, and 1 review. Okay. So navigate through. So as you go through that, the Jazz Fool, I remember that playing on TV late night Disney Channel. Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer that was reviewed on March the 21st. So these are really recent. Okay. All right. So let's go back up and we'll go to audio. So audio is where you have your music archives, podcasts, news sources, radio news. You have your live music archive, the LibriVox, free audio. So again, that's audiobooks. And then it says under feature, you have your Grateful Dead, net labels, old time radio, 78 RPMs, and cylinder. I'm not sure what that is. Audiobooks and poetry. Let's try that out. Okay, audiobooks, poetry. So the layout is going to be the same. It lets you know how many materials are in the collection. So 76,000. There is a forum. You have your filters. And then this is the collection that you can navigate through. So let's go to LibriVox. The free audiobook collection, 21,351 items here. Man, these are books. Okay. Also, I want to see what happens when you do audio and you go to live music archive. For my music lovers out there, Billy Strings, Grateful Dead, Drive-By Truckers, John Mayer. So search there and see if you find if there's a particular artist of interest or someone that you might be a fan of or someone you forgot about or old album that you never thought you'd find again. Dig around and see if they have it. And then it has this memoriam to Bob Weir. So that's really nice. Then you have your software. So it says Internet Arcade. This is Console Living Room Collection, which is cool. We're going to go there in just a moment. Then you have your featured all software, old school emulation, MS-DOS, games, historical software, classic PC games. So this is mostly games and your older games where you can actually play some of these. Some of these you can download to your device or you can just simply play them here on the web, depending on the game. So they chose the console living room, and so these collections are based on specific consoles or games made for specific consoles. As you can see, you have your original PlayStation, the Atari 7800, and so forth and so on, which is pretty cool. I want to go back up to software and we'll go to Internet Arcade. So any option that you choose is the layout is going to be just about the same here in terms of navigating through things. So you have your Tetris, which I'm a big Tetris fan, your Mortal Kombat 3 bootleg of Mega Drive version, Speed Up, Galaga. I was digging through here before and I saw the Oregon Trail is on here. You can actually play it right here on your PC. My internet is moving a bit slow. You have your Pac-Man Club, Star Trek, Jurassic Park, and again, so forth and so on. Let's see. Let me go back up to Tetris by Sega. And you definitely want to keep an eye out on the activity of an item, right? So some of these, I'm not sure what the screening process is. You do have volunteers who work with the Internet Archive. So there is management of the collection, but I'm not quite sure if every single thing that they have uploaded here is safe. You definitely want to exercise caution when you're downloading things onto your device because you really just never know. So be on the lookout for some indicators that something might be safe. And for people who are gamers, my gamers already know, my streamers already know that, when you don't have very many views or reviews, if you could tell something hasn't really been engaged with, you don't you don't take that risk. But if you see something is being played often and people are active on it, then that's more of a green light to go ahead with something. Okay. So when I open up this game, it lets me know there's been 140,408 views, quite a few favorites. It was released in 1988, developed and published by Sega Enterprises, what kind of game it is. And here is where some of the games will actually give you instructions for how to play the game, either on your PC or device, or by downloading it and playing it wherever you want to play it. So it just depends on who and how it was uploaded. That determines if there are instructions or what kind of instructions are included in that description. All right, so I want to play downloading game, metadata, downloading game. Let's see how this works. If not, I'll come back to it. Push player one to start. All right, I'm using my space bar. Oh, I could do this all day. I love Tetris. All right. And I'll stop there because I can keep going. But I just wanted to give an example of how you can engage and interact with a game directly on the Internet Archive website. So you can go back and find some of your favorite games and play it without anything extra. You don't have to go get an Atari or a Nintendo 64 necessarily, depending on what kind of game that is. And let's go into images. So you have the Metropolitan Museum, the Cleveland Museum, all images. So under your featured, Flickr Commons, Occupy Wall Street. Top are your NASA images, Solar System Collection, Ames Research Center. Let's go to all images. All right. This library contains digital images uploaded by archive users, which range from maps to astronomical imagery to photographs of artwork. Many of these images are available for free download. So that's awesome. If you were to find some art and you wanted to download them and blow them up onto a poster and have cool art in your home, you can totally do that. Okay, so some of these are collections. So Citizen Archivist Image Collection. So there's a collection inside of the past pages, news homepage, archive. These are collections. So this wouldn't necessarily be the image itself. You are going into another like reservoir of images, which is pretty cool. Let's go to the Met Museum of Art. I would love to go to the Met one day. The Metropolitan Museum of Art was founded on April 13th, 1870, to be located in the city of New York for the purpose of establishing and maintaining in said city a museum and library of art, of encouraging and developing the study of the fine arts and the application of arts to manufacture and practical life, of advancing the general knowledge of kindred subjects, and to that end of furnishing popular instruction. Okay. So you have your museum artwork, okay, and some of these you can download and have art in your house. You have a nice museum vibe going on if that was of interest to you, okay. So as we all know, sometimes museum art can be a little risque, so I won't go down too far. But the same is true in terms of filtering images down and just navigating through what might be more interesting for you. So now let's look through the other parts of the website. So under About, this page is going to give you a little bit more information about the Internet Archive, who they are, what the purpose is, some of the foundations that have helped to fund them, and their affiliations, including the American Library Association. Whoop, whoop. You have your blog here for those who are interested in following that, and it is kept up to date. It says posted March 24th, 2026, this latest blog post there. And this is something that kind of stands on its own the way that the Open Library does. Going back, we're going to events. So they do have an events calendar. And remember when we talked about looking for library events and how to navigate that? So you can change your view to month, so you can kind of see everything going on in a particular month. They don't have much going on, but you can change it day by day. There's not anything going on today. So we'll go back to list view. And on the 26th of March, they will be having a book talk. They do have virtual and live events in different areas, such as the No Place to Grow Old documentary screening in partnership with the League of Women Voters on April 22nd. That is taking place in San Francisco. Okay, so you can subscribe to this calendar and stay abreast of the different events and opportunities that the Internet Archive will have coming up. All right, so let's go back. Under projects, so the Internet Archive projects, it has political TV ad archive, building libraries together, the Open Library, which is something we looked at, scanning services, software archive, the Wayback Machine, which we discussed before, Archive It. It's a subscription web archiving service that helps organizations to harvest, build, and preserve collections of digital content. Offline Archive, the offline archive, it says they created the offline archive project that works to make online collections available regardless of internet availability. How awesome is that? Book Server, Open Content Alliance, you have Open Educational Resources, the Bookmobile, Open Community Networks, Peterbox, and 301works.org. Is 301works.org is an independent service for archiving URL mappings. The goal of the service is to provide protection for everyday users of short URL services by providing transparency and permanence of their mappings. So this is definitely worth checking out and just kind of digging into the various projects. So under help, this is where you can get assistance navigating their website, help with your account, if you want to donate items, if you're borrowing materials, downloading materials, anything to do with this platform. All right, so you can read a little bit about the founder of the Internet Archive, Brewster Call, because he's a founder and digital librarian, which is awesome. So if you want to donate, and they even accept cryptocurrency, which is pretty cool. They are located in San Francisco. If you wanted to mail in a donation, and it does say your gift is tax deductible to the full extent provided by the law. So that's something that you were looking at. If you were looking for a opportunity to have charitable giving, that is something that you can consider. Under contact, this is going to be a way that you can reach out to the archive along with the map of where they are in San Francisco, with driving directions and taking public transit in the area, which is really nice. Okay, so you have several options. Then you have jobs. So it is possible to work at the Internet Archive. It does seem that most of these are in-person jobs in San Francisco, at least the ones that are listed currently. But if that is something that you're looking for and you're watching from California, maybe reach out, or you know someone, or you've been longing to move to California. Consider the Internet Archive being an option for you. And then you have your volunteer option. So they do have volunteer positions. You can volunteer as an open library developer, an open librarian, or you can volunteer at special events. So there's a lot to see and to navigate on this website. There's a lot of collections to explore, lots of music and books and poems, and you can read up on when things were created and when things were archived and what was the original purpose and which company developed this product and those kinds of things that sometimes get lost or forgotten when public libraries or academic libraries have to remove collections because they're not being used, which we did talk about again in the first episode when we talked about weeding, how those materials can be lost or they can seem lost if you're not actively looking to purchase them. But the reality is you can't save every book, you can't save every CD or DVD. And so it is nice to know that there is a place where these things live on and they can be accessed freely. So explore the archives, go through, check it out. This is the archive. This is another one of the projects that is under the Internet Archive. And look, I found something called 90 Forward. It says it's an archive that partners since March of 2026. It's an NGO, and it says 904 creates racial healing and equity through deep conversations and learning, trusting relationships, and collective action. Among 904's programs are Race Cards, Little Free Diverse Libraries, and the Jacksonville Community Remembrance Project, a project that remembers the legacy of racial terror lynchings in our city. Through these and other programs, 904's goals are to acknowledge the truth about our racial history and its current impacts. An inclusive community begins with understanding each other better. Now, this is really cool because this was an accidental find with the Internet Archive being located in San Francisco. Even though this is a national service and they are getting information from all over, I was not expecting to run across an organization that's local to us right here in Jacksonville. So if we click on that, then okay, it says that they don't have public content available yet. Then that goes to show that some of these other partners may have collections or materials that they are sharing under their profiles. So this is something to check out. And even if it's not located here, then you can go to whatever their websites are and kind of do a little bit more digging that way. Okay. So this is organizational archive. This is really cool. Okay. So there's a lot to see. Like I said, I can't even begin to go through all of this in one go. I think my best bet is to leave it there, but I would be more than happy to break this down into smaller pieces or go through this again another day. If you are watching, if you've made it this far, if you have suggestions or a question, or you want me to redo something or maybe make one video about one particular collection, I think I will return to this platform in the future and maybe just kind of go one by one instead of trying to make one long video because it's such a jam packed resource. Okay, we didn't even touch on all of the collections. We did not go through everything they have, the other libraries, the 9/11 archive, or anything. So I'm just going to leave that as that and implore you to exercise curiosity and to play around and see what you find. What can you pull from your memory bank, or what can you scroll through and that might jog your memory, that will, prompt you to engage with the website. The more engagement they get and the more support through donations that they get, the longer that they can keep this program running. And that was the Internet Archive. And so while I'm sure that there are some people that are aware that it exists and that might use it regularly, I am sure that there are many people who did not know that they could still go back and tap into some of the things that are considered obsolete at this point. So please go on there, check them out, support the cause, support the project, maybe volunteer or even donate if you wish. But that's all I have for you for now. If you have any suggestions or resources that you would like for me to cover, please feel free to comment below and let me know what it is that you're looking for. And until then, I'll see you next time.